I'm Erin King, and I am one of the first test subjects for a fully remote hire. And I work as a senior designer, and I've been with Brist for a few weeks. So yeah, I'm originally from West Texas. My family lives in San Antonio. So I road trip down from Boulder, Colorado twice a year. And I hit Amarillo whenever I drive down. It's like the halfway point. My husband and I are both big microbrewery fans, so we try and go to microbreweries wherever we are. And I looked up this one microbrewery in Amarillo called, and I'm going to say it wrong, which is so embarrassing, but it's Pondicetta. And they're this little microbrewery out in the middle of Amarillo. I stopped in to pick up a few beers, and they had like this awesome merch. And I don't buy merch from breweries because they're, it's not usually the greatest stuff. But that is really cool button down with like a yucca plant on it and the state of Texas and Palo Duro Canyon. What's the name of the cow? There's a cow on there. Anyway, I don't remember the story behind the cow. And there was a hang tag on it, and it was Brist. And I thought, well, that's cool. Somebody's actually making stuff for companies that's not lame. And I bought 3 of those button downs because they had pearl inlay snap button. Yeah, that's how I found out about Brist. And that was in December of 2020. And then in February of 21, they had a job posting on LinkedIn. And I thought, well, heck, I'll give it a go. I get along well with everybody. I do really well with people from all walks of life. I grew up in a really religious and conservative town out in West Texas. And then I moved to Boulder, Colorado, which is very liberal and progressive. So I have learned to like really get along with all kinds of people from all different walks of life and all different philosophies. But what I don't do well with is I apparently attract really bad dogs. So like all of the misbehaved, like really ill-mannered, badly behaved dogs wind up with me. My last dog that I got 4 years ago was missing a back leg and had like aggression issues. And I had to do a 3-month intense training course. His name's Audley Trotterman, at a dog boot camp, complete with shot collar and spray bottle. And I tell you, I learned more about human behavior through that course than I did. Like my dog is still not perfect. He's pretty awesome now, but he had a lot of issues. But the course is actually more about human behavior. Yeah, now I carry around like a little spray bottle that I just want to use on people all the time. So when I see them doing something dumb, I want to be like, no, don't do that. Spray them in the face. And then whenever they stop and they correct their behavior, I just want to pull out a treat and be like, good job. Yes, I've been away from Texas for a long time, but there's a lot of things that I recognize about it now. I'm like, yeah, Texas is full of like sarcasm, sass, snark. I didn't realize it, but that's inherently my personality. I mean, I've always been interested in art and science, and I think, I couldn't go full tilt boogie in the arts or sciences. And I think design is where those two things meet. Art, in a sense, is like always trying to like get our, it's getting us to ask questions and about problems that are in the world. So it's bringing awareness to the problems. And, and then science has this very like tactical way of trying to like solve very logistical problems, whereas art is like bringing awareness to existential problems. And I think design lives right in the middle of that. And what we do is we try and find solutions to all the problems that are being brought to our attention in a really simple and like human way. And in my bachelor's degree is in art, my master's degree is in science, and here I am as a designer. And I think that's what it is. I just like solving problems in a, simplistic way that works for the person I'm trying to solve the problem for. Last year, there was an organization called Amplifier. Well, they still exist. They're an activism through art organization, and they did a massive call for art around COVID-19 awareness. And I think they got 10,000 submissions, and I submitted 3. And it was more or less pro bono. They did cash awards, but literally meant like you take the money and you do something for your community around COVID. So I had a bunch printed and distributed them to, different little shops in town. But I did these 3 posters, and they had the sarcasm, sass, and snark, which is kind of hard to pull off when you're trying to get people to wear masks during a pandemic. But I was like, this town can handle it, and I'm going to see if I can pull it off design-wise. And they used it in their campaign, and it was really fun to like open up those conversations to people who, traditionally, this is a small mountain town, and people are crusty. But we ended up having a lot of fun with them, and it kind of inspired people to just like buckle up and do it. I was my own art director, which I don't get to do that very often. And, sometimes you're just like, wait a minute, do I know what I'm doing? And so it was fun to like, we'll see what the world thinks, and worked out pretty well. Traditionally, I've always been excited about helping out the small guy. Or the underdog. I love a good underdog story. And I think that that's fundamentally how Brist exists, is just like, we got all these underdogs out there that are trying to like do things in the world a little bit differently. They're trying to make the world better. And, they've kind of been held back by big business and just like big obstacles. And so for me, it's more of like an emotional thing in terms of, I like designing whatever style people are kind of into. So I like being able to learn different design styles. I have an illustration style that I love doing for myself. And if I connect with somebody through Brist, then awesome. But really it's more about like, I just love the idea of, helping out all these underdogs.